Hi everyone, welcome to your reading for today. And what I'm going to do is just pull lots of different cards for you and use my intuition to kind of help us through a period in history where I think a lot of us are really struggling to just figure out exactly why we're here, what our purpose is, why we're feeling so stagnant, maybe, why we feel blocked from certain things, all these kind of I feel like limiting beliefs, which is maybe what I'm going to call this video, because I feel like there's a lot of pre-programmed people who are starting to wake up now to the fact that whatever you've been taught is not necessarily always been what's true, and it's not always what's true for you and your your own soul's journey, basically. So let's just get straight into the reading, starting off with the cards. And your first card today is Daydreams and Decisions, and the number 7. So you can see a person on this card, and it almost looks like they're meditating there, and they're using like a hand symbol, which is showing the shape of a heart. So I do feel like with all the green that's on this card as well, the heart chakra is something that needs to be looked at here. I also feel like when I said about feeling stagnant, not knowing what you're being called to do, that kind of thing, the daydreams and decisions is something that's probably been, you feel like you're being held back a little bit. There's nothing's really, although you're trying to find your way or maybe trying different things in life, you might be drawn to try something. I feel like you go so far and then you kind of think, "Oh, maybe that's not for me after all, maybe I'll try this instead." So it feels as though you're kind of feeling your way through a lot of things. I also feel as though you do need to open up more with your communication about these kind of things as well. So maybe there might be certain instances where you feel like you possibly need to speak to somebody else or collaborate with somebody else over what it is that you feel called to do, because maybe this is something that you can't actually do on your own. But that said, it might even just be that a conversation with somebody else will spark off some inspiration for you to go ahead and do what you're supposed to do on your own, if you like, at this moment in time. And I want to say, I want to really focus on the fact that you don't have to do the same thing forever and ever, over and over again. You are allowed to change your mind, you are allowed to daydream, you are allowed to make different decisions and different choices in your life. You don't have to do the same thing over and over again. Or you could do forms of a similar thing, um, you know, um, and kind of tap into all different areas of a certain subject, maybe. So try not to box yourself into one compartment, because I feel like when I talked about limiting beliefs earlier on, we are all taught at an early age by our parents, the people around us, the fact that um, we should do this, we should do that, we should get a job, we need to buy a house, we need to get a car, because this is what was taught to them. And over generations, we kind of follow the same patterns as those people that are around us the most. And even when you kind of move out of that and you move into a relationship with somebody else, say you get married or you just, fall into your own kind of lifestyle, you can easily get drawn into what other people's patterns are, other people's beliefs, other people's daydreams and decisions. So I want to say this card really to me is showing that heart symbol is really important. Following your own heart, making your own decisions, believing in your own daydreams, basically, the things that are coming to your own mind, and not letting people talk you out of whatever it is that you feel called or drawn to do with your life. Okay, your next card is the number 23 and patience. This card definitely goes with this card. You can see that they're both sitting there contemplating really quietly about what it is that they're being called to do, or what it is they feel drawn to um, move towards. I feel like this person here has been sitting here for a very, very long time, almost to the point where if they move, their joints are going to be so uncomfortable because they've been so used to being sat there and waiting on what it is that they are trying to manifest almost, I feel. So, and what I want to say is this comfort thing is a part of the pre-programming that I was talking about earlier on. You feel as though it's quite difficult to be able to get up and move from your comfort zone, because when you do, it hurts, and it feels wrong, and it feels almost like alien like to you to get up and do something totally opposite to what you normally would. And there are lots of things in your body as well that could flare up, because these are the kind of things that are going to get triggered off from past experiences as well. So maybe looking at the areas or the pinpoints in your body where you're having trouble, like inflammation or pain, or something that's there all the time kind of niggling you. Try and delve a bit more deeply into that as well. I'm not saying that doctors and hospitals aren't there for a good reason, because they are for some people, but for a lot of us, there are certain things that are happening within our bodies, especially at this moment in time in history, where our bodies are trying to become um, more in tune with the changes of the world. So, as trying to ascend, and your body is still feeling in a low vibration, because that's the way it's always been, that's how the world's always felt. But now it's starting, everything is starting to rise to a higher consciousness. Your body needs to follow suit with that, and it's so used to being in the lower vibes that it's going to hurt. You're going to get aches and pains in certain places as you're moving more towards the future, and this massive change in history that's happening at the moment. I feel like I don't really need to explain about that. I think a lot of people who maybe are drawn to this are fully awake and aware to the things that are happening in the world. So I'm not going to tap into all of that, because that's possibly a separate video as well. So I feel like the patience card here is just saying, have patience with yourself. If you have got aches and pains, or your body's telling you to slow down, quieten down, take a break, have a rest, listen to it. Don't keep pushing against it. Allow it to have that time, that space, and to give yourself that mental clarity as well. Taking yourself out of the rat race, into an environment where you feel safe, and where you feel you're not going to be interrupted, and where you can really start to look at your own self and not have all those distractions around you. um, with spiritual awakenings, and I feel like a lot of people watching this video are going to be at some point along that road of a spiritual awakening. If you're not aware of it yet and you're watching this, I would definitely research into that, because a lot of the readings that I do are to help people, especially on the first steps of that part of your journey as well. So, those of you that do feel drawn to this, I feel as though you do need to have a lot of patience with this, and you do need to kind of get it more into the flow of your life, rather than pushing against things, rather than allowing people to keep diverting you, if you like, to keep throwing in distractions for you that you keep getting pulled away. So rather than taking time to rest and cleanse and look after yourself, you're being drawn into other people's drama. Okay, it's really important to practice your own inner peace, if you like. And your next card is child and the number 18. um I feel like I want to mention your inner child, not necessarily an actual child with this card. So it's kind of going back to your childhood and realizing where a lot of the pre programming has happened for you. Um, where you've been taught certain things in your childhood or from your childhood and how to act or react to certain things. Um, and also understanding that your own happiness doesn't depend on somebody else as well. I feel drawn to say that. It might not feel as though it relates to this card, but I do feel drawn to say that right now because um, maybe as a child you might have been given things to kind of pacify you. I see the child there with a rabbit, and they're kind of loving that. And it's almost like as we grow older, we tend to try and find these kind of things in our adult life that we cling to, that we feel like we really, really need to make us happy. And what you will find is it will make no difference whether you have these things or not, um, because happiness doesn't come from an actual item, it comes from within you, inside of you. And if you've got a lot of trauma or suppressed feelings from your childhood, doesn't matter how you try to find your inner peace or your happiness, if you like, you're really not going to be able to find it without processing or letting go of some of these things, like the rabbit, say, um, that you know were of absolutely no use to you growing up to bring you that happiness. They were just like an item that was put in place to fulfill you in that moment, if you like. But moving forward, that rabbit's going to be no good to you as you get older. You're going to need something else to replace it, like it's going to be a car or a nice house, or I don't know, a brilliant job so you can go flying all across the world and doing all these different things that you feel are going to fulfill your life. But I feel like going back to this card, I just want to say taking the time to be patient and allowing yourself to quieten down and stop craving these things. And I feel like it's not just things, I feel like it can be people as well that you're attached to. You feel like you need them to make you happy, or to you can't let go of them because you've just become so aware of the fact that you need them for some reason, and you need to really tap into the reasons why you might be believing that you need these people in your life, because at the end of the day, all we really need is our own self, to trust our own inner guidance, to trust our own spirit and how we are being led towards what it is that we should be doing, and not going ahead and doing the things that we are told we should do. So, this child or inner child, whatever it was told as it was growing up, it's going to have these beliefs really, really deeply ingrained. And it's going to be so hard to change their minds about how they feel about certain things, because other people's limiting beliefs have given them this little box that says, don't, stay in that box, don't step out of it because it's frightening. You can't do that, you can't do this. So I think it's important to try and tap into that and figure out why you're frightened of certain things, why it's hard for you to process certain things as well. Because I think that looking at this, you will be able to Figure out where your triggers are, figure out what you need to work on personally, because I can't tell you what that is, only you know what feels, like the things that flare you up, the things that people do that upset you. They're the kind of things that you need to kind of be looking at to kind of work on yourself, because these people that are doing that as well, that are kind of wounding your inner child, I feel like they obviously don't know that they're triggering that for a start, because they don't, not everyone knows your history, not everyone knows what's upset you as you've grown into an adult. So they probably don't even know that they're kind of scratching the scab off of this wound. And I think it's important to understand, to be more understanding really with these people as well, because not everyone is really here to completely hurt you. They're just teaching you lessons so that you can work on the parts of you that are feeling hurt, that are feeling that unloved, if you like, as well. So learning to love yourself is a really important part of your spiritual awakening. Okay, so your next card is the number 29 and woman. And this card says woman, wife, questioner, herself, female, querent, female, femininity. So I feel like the, although I don't really like to work with gender because it's quite a sensitive subject these days, but I do feel like this is talking to me about the person that brought you up, so like a mother figure. Okay, so try to be open-minded with this as well, because for some of you, maybe you didn't have a mum, maybe your dad brought you up more than your mum, or maybe your grandma. But what I want to say, overall, like if I put this into a little compartment, although that says woman, I feel like this is talking about the person who was around you the most, who was like a mother figure, if that makes sense to you. Okay, and I think maybe this is where we all need to start looking at, especially when our spiritual journey begins, because this could be where a lot of your wounds are um, kind of flaring up from. And I also want to say, let's not place any blame on this person either, because this person was doing the best that they could with the knowledge that they had, with the inner wounds and triggers that they had from their childhood, from their past ancestors, if you like, as well. So I think we do need to be a little bit more understanding of that too. It's not the fact that people are here to hurt us. Like I said, they are here to do the best job that they can. And sometimes, yeah, they are going to mess up. Sometimes they are going to hurt us or wound us. And sometimes it's not intentional, okay? And I think we need to bear that in mind. So keeping this like a light and positive reading, kind of changing your mindset around these areas, I feel, is what's going to help you to move forward at the beginning of your journey here. I do feel like a lot of you are on the beginning of this journey, so I don't feel like it's wrong to say that you don't really understand what's happening. Um, because I think there's a lot of you that are starting to ask questions and starting to try and figure these things out for yourself. Okay. And I really don't want to touch any more on that, because I feel like for each and every one of you, you're going to find what that is that you need to kind of look at. And maybe if you're lucky enough to still have this person around you as well, I think definitely try and open the lines of communication. And the best way to work through some of the healing would be to talk to each other and work on maybe some of the differences, or anything that you feel comfortable with, um, getting out into the open and clearing out those old energies, and a lot of them I feel are quite negative as well. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. Negative energy isn't wrong. It's here to teach us. It's here to show us how to turn that into positive, and get back into the light and start to see things from another point of view, from another side, if you like. Okay. Your next card is the Five of Pentacles. I feel drawn to the Egyptian cards for some reason, and I do think that this card is talking to me about strength. You see the person there. On the card above them, there is a lion, and it's kind of walking on what looks like a snake. So I think that you've got to find your inner strength here, and you've got to understand that it's okay for you to use your voice sometimes, and to get across your feelings, your true feelings, not being horrible, but being firm, and being in a way, like if you see a lion, you would be wary, because you'd know that you know where the boundaries are with a lion, basically, don't you? You don't go running up to a lion, you don't put your head in its mouth, kind of thing. So I feel like this is how you need to be tackling things. You need to make people aware that you've got a big roar, and if they come and try and step over these boundaries that you're starting to put in place, you're not going to put up with it anymore. Things are starting to change really subtly, but they are changing, okay? Really slowly. I want to go back to this card here. So have patience, because things are slowly starting to work in your favor, but you need to work with them and not against them, okay? So if you're feeling flared up about things, okay, have your release of energy, have your little rant, but be very wary about how you do that, okay? Because as you go through your spiritual awakening, what you are going to find more and more and more is the fact that eventually you're going to have little to no reaction to a lot of things that people do, because you're going to start to realize it's not actually what they're doing that is causing you the trouble, it's your reaction to it. And once you learn that, that's a big like epiphany to have, okay? And I'm just going to leave that there, because for some of you it might be a little bit hard to get your head around that straight away, but you will get this as you continue on through your journey. Once you start to get through some of the hard lessons that you've been going through, or you're still going through at the moment, okay? Your next card is the Hermit. And this person, you can see, they look as if they're all covered in their cloak and they're hiding away. But although they're hiding away and wanting to stay away from people that are hurting them, if you like, they are becoming enlightened, because they're starting to see the real side of certain people. They're starting to highlight what's the problems maybe, and they're figuring it out for themselves. They're becoming enlightened, which is part of your spiritual awakening. And it's interesting that all these cards, they didn't become out of focus, but this one really has. I'll just pop that into focus for you now. But that shows me that there are some things that you haven't been able to see, and I think it's in certain people around you. You've thought they were a certain person, maybe for a lot of years, and then all of a sudden you're starting to see them in a different light. They're showing their true colours, and this is something that's happening all across the world. That's why there's lots of things that are flaring up, lots of things that are getting sorted out now, because um, the real deal is happening. It's like all the people who have been fake are starting to become exposed. And you're going to see this more than anyone because of your awakening, okay? So trust in that. And I'm also seeing the sunshine in my mind's eye as well. So if you can get out into the sunshine and you can really build up your solar plexus, which is like your stomach area. Okay, that is it's the color yellow as well is really important. So nourishing that area will give you that intuition, and it will show you where to look. It will teach you how to trust your gut feeling around certain people. Okay, and I just want to tie up this reading now with one last card, because I don't want it to be too long. And this is just like a little affirmation card for you, just to finish up on. And I'll just read it before I show it to you. And it says, I am worthy of my wildest dreams. They are within reach. I can reach hard enough. And there's the card. You might not be able to see it. Let's focus. And I do feel as though a lot of you are starting to find out your actual worth. Okay, a lot of people may have been making you feel like you're not worth anything, or telling you certain things like you can't do this, you can't do that, or you know, you'll never be anything, you can't stop doing this, or you can't stop doing that, or you'll always be addicted to that. No, I feel like you need to just start to look at your own self, ignore what other people are telling you, and just believe in you. And I feel like this is what this card is telling you today. The most important thing is understanding who you are, because whatever anyone else is saying to you is telling you a lot about themselves. It's telling you a lot about what's happening within them as well. So really analyze that too, because that will help you to understand where they may have problems that they need to process. And it's not up to you to fix them or to tell them where they need to look, because eventually they'll work it out. And those people who don't work it out, um, I don't feel like they'll be in your energy for that much longer anyway, because you're going to start to vibrate higher. And those that are still vibing low, I want to say, like the negative people, will start to fall away. So you're not going to have them around you so much. And I just want to show you the image on the back of that card before I finish the reading, and that just looks really lovely. It looks like it could be a sunrise or a sunset, but either way it's beautiful. So I feel like it's pointing towards just being grateful at the beginning and at the end of each day is really going to help you on your journey as well. Whatever's happened, just say thank you to the universe, whether it's a harsh lesson that's teaching you something, or whether it has been a beautiful day. Be grateful for all of it, and I feel like that's what's going to bring you in lots more blessings for the future. And I will be doing more videos like this, so please do follow and share if you feel drawn to. I do private readings as well. I'll leave some links for my Facebook page, but it's been lovely to connect with everyone today. I'd love to see your comments as well, and take care, and I'll see you all very soon.